What's up, Thrive? I'm saying Thrive family. We are family. Thrive tribe, whatever we are. Man, so grateful for you and your consistency, your faithfulness. Thank you for living with the revelation that God is enough, but Sunday is not. If you're going to live your best life, you need more than 60 minutes on Sunday. You need the word Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's why we give you this midweek boost, hopefully push you over the hump on hump day, man. So we're so grateful to God for you and all that God's getting ready to do. Listen, I'm on break. Every now and then, I need to pull away to be poured back into. But we planned for this, and we want to make sure that you are well fed. And so you're about to hear a message that I did at one of our fire nights in New Jersey. This message is called, I'm Not the Same. Something is getting ready to shift in your life. I want you to go crazy in the chat. As you hear this message, if God brings somebody to your mind that needs to hear it, I want you to send them a text to tell them to tap in. I'm going to be back at the end of the message to greet you. Enjoy this word. I'm not the same. Judges chapter 8, verse 22 says, the Israelites said to Gideon, rule over us, you, your son and grandson, because you have saved us from the hand of Midian. I want to talk from the subject for a few minutes. I'm not the same, part 2. Somebody say, I'm not the same. I attempted to articulate on Sunday that Gideon's story is a powerful picture of a principle we call in the coaching space a quantum leap. Somebody say quantum leap. And the term quantum leap is borrowed from quantum physics, and it describes how a particle of matter can instantaneously leap from one space to the next. It's a picture of possibility not just for matter, it's a picture of possibility for people. Quantum leaps rest. All right, quantum leaps. Some of y'all's like, it's a mic, it's a mic. But quantum leaps rest on the revelation. Listen to this, guys. It rests on the revelation and the rejection of the notion that the only type of growth is incremental growth. It rejects the notion that the only type of growth is incremental growth. It is a mind that is renewed from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Quantum leaps. An explosive leap in your personal performance that puts you far past the next logical step. It is an indication of an alternative way to move forward. It suggests that you do not have to always take steps. That some things happen in steps. Other things can happen in leaps. And 2023 is not a leap year literally, but it can be a leap year prophetically. It can be your year to say, this is not the year where I'm taking steps. This is the year where I'm taking leaps. Am I talking to anybody that will say 2023 is my leap year? Taking leaps mentally, leaps relationally, leaps professionally, leaps emotionally, leaps spiritually. And Gideon's story is an example of a quantum leap. He changed so fast. He goes from a man who is threshing wheat in a wine press, hiding, a man that is discouraged, a man that is disillusioned, a man that is suffering from imposter syndrome. And God sends a messenger to him while he's threshing wheat in the winepress and says, the Lord is with you, you mighty man of valor. God calls him the exact opposite of the way he's behaving. There's nothing about him that demonstrates him being a mighty warrior. But God calls those things that be not as though they were. Come on. There is nothing about his activity that is an indication that he should embrace the identity of a warrior. But you need to know, whenever you attach your identity to dysfunction, you have mislabeled yourself. Did you hear what I just said? Whenever you attach your identity to dysfunction and not the Imago Dei, not the image of God, you have mislabeled yourself. And for some of you, I want you to know your behavior is lying to you. You are not what you did. You are not what you are doing. And at some point, God's going to speak to the warrior on the inside of you. He's going to speak to the alternative version of you that exists and say, I didn't call this version out sooner because it wasn't the season that demanded it. But now you hit a season where this version of yourself cannot faithfully steward this chapter of your assignment. So now I'm putting a demand on the other version of you, because this version of you has gone as far as it can go. This version of you has done all that it can do. This version of you has accomplished all that it can accomplish. And God says, before you can multiply it, I have to multiply you. Quantum leap. Gideon is so distraught. An angel, a messenger from God, is having a conversation with him about his dilemma. And Gideon is so upset that they in it, that he's missing that God's trying to tell him how to change it. And God miraculously orchestrates a quantum leap for Gideon, where he goes from threshing wheat in a wine press to leading 300 men in victory over 160-something thousand Midianites. And in chapter 8, verse number 2, people are telling this man who just 2 chapters later, 2 chapters before, was threshing wheat in a wine press. 2 chapters later, they telling him, lead us. We not only want you to lead us, we want your lineage to lead us. We so confident. Y'all miss the implications of this because I don't have time to unpack the whole story. I preached this Sunday. But when Gideon is introduced to the assignment, his response is he doesn't come from the right lineage. He says, my clan is the weakest clan. And he says, I'm the weakest in my clan. That's in chapter 6. But in chapter 8, it's amazing what he can do in 2 chapters. Y'all, I'm almost done. Y'all waiting on the good part. I'm almost done. Somebody just throw 2 in the air and say 2 chapters. Yep, some people's mistake is they defining you based on your chapter 6. And they have no idea what God can do in 2 chapters. Keep reading, keep looking, keep watching. I'm in my chapter 6 now, but God's getting ready to take me to my chapter 8. So he goes from my lineage is weak to people saying, we want you to lead us and your son and your grandson. I don't even have time to deal with this. Your quantum leap has implications, not just in how you see yourself. It changes how people connected to you see themselves. Did you hear what I just said? Yeah, the way Gideon talked about his family is not the way Gideon's children were going to talk about their family. Because Gideon was the pivot point. Y'all miss what I just said. Gideon was the point in his family's history where things pivoted. The trajectory was one way before it got to Gideon. But when it got to Gideon, Gideon orchestrated a generational shift to say things were one way until it got to me. But now my assignment is to shift the trajectory of my family. I don't know who this is for. I'm just looking for the Gideons who will say, I'm the pivot point. Yeah, this stops with me. All right, I'm only going 7 more minutes. Here it is. Yeah, the way he talked about his family is not the way his family would talk about the family. Because of who he became. Because he let God multiply him before he could multiply it. And if I had time, I'd show you all the ways God multiplied him. But one of the ways God multiplied him was by subtracting from him. Did you hear what I just said? He went to war with 300 men, but he did not start with 300 men. He started with 32,000 men. And God's like, I'm getting ready to multiply you by subtracting from you. I just want to tell somebody that might feel like I'm going through a season of subtraction. God might just be using that season of subtraction to orchestrate a season of multiplication. Because some of your peace multiplied. When some things got subtracted, some of your focus multiplied when some things get distracted. Because when some of us can't handle addition and your assignment. When things start getting added, we start getting distracted from what we've been called and created to do. Yeah, he multiplied them by subtracting. He said, tell everybody that's scared, go home. 22,000 left. God's like, I'm not punishing you, I'm protecting you. Because the 22,000 that left weren't assets. They were liabilities. So you would have been going to war thinking you had more than you really had. You ain't even have 32,000. 22,000 of them was scared. They were going to run. Every loss is not a loss. Sometimes you didn't lose what you had. Somebody need to hear this. I only got 4 minutes. Sometimes you didn't lose what you had. You lost what you thought you had. I'm getting ready to go because y'all tired. You done danced and you're tired. I said you didn't lose what you had because you never had what you thought you lost what you thought you had. And God's like, you thought I was doing it through what you had, but you never had what you thought you had. It's been me all along. Because every loss, not a loss. This man goes from 32,000 to 300. And is able to lead Israel in victory over the Midianites because he experiences a quantum leap. Now watch this. Here's a principle I've been trying to teach all throughout the Greater series. Who remember the Greater series? Wave at me. You remember that? Clap your hands if that bless you. Here it is. Our focus as believers is not outcomes because you can't control outcomes. You can't control harvest. You can only control sowing and if you reap. I'll teach that later. Sowing is active. Sowing is your part. Harvest is God's part. Then reaping is your part. Sometimes we think sowing our part and God, no. God's like, see, one year growing up in Mississippi, my father got bored and wanted to plant a garden. So we planted a garden in his backyard, and my sister and I learned something about sowing and reaping with the garden. I learned reaping is work. Sowing is actually easier. So if you have trouble sowing, I gotta go. If you have trouble sowing, I got news for you. Sowing is the easiest part of the process. We sow, we just, dig a little thing, we just drop a little seed and went on about our business. But reaping, we had to get baskets. We had to go out there. We had to pull stuff up. We had to take the peas and then go back home and open the peas up and then dip them in it. Y'all aren't talking to me. When you say you want to reap, you're saying you want to work. You got to go get the harvest. I felt that when God sends the harvest, but you got to go get it. And in 2023, I'm telling you, go get it. I'm going to get it. So you control your investment, you don't control outcomes. Make sense? You control sowing. God sends the harvest. So it means that I can't make harvest grow. I can only do the things that produce harvest. So I can't produce a quantum leap. I can only do the things that produce one. So the way I get a quantum leap is not by trying to get a quantum leap. The way I experience a quantum leap is by doing the things that produce a quantum leap. So if I'm going to multiply me, there are 3 things I see Gideon had to multiply. I'm giving them to you. I'm going to take 5 minutes. 3 things Gideon had to multiply that we need to multiply if we're going to multiply us. Are y'all ready? All right. Number 1, we need to multiply our cognition. What's that? When I deal with cognition, see, at the end of the story, this is what you see. It was never an issue of Gideon's capability. It was always an issue of his cognition. He defeated the Midianites and did not learn one new skill. I'm gone. Tario, I'm gone. I said he defeated the Midianites and did not learn one new skill, which means that the skills that he needed were resident on the inside of him in latent form all along. His problem was not his capability. His problem was his cognition. It was his mindset, not his skill set. Because your mindset determines if you use your skill set. Your mindset determines how you use your skill set. Some of you got a great skill set. You don't have the right mindset, so you don't sling your slingshot the right way. You half sling it. It don't even reach Goliath. Not because the slingshot won't work, but because your mindset is keeping you from reaching your redemptive potential. Gideon had to multiply his mindset. He couldn't get into destiny until he got out of his head. I'm out of here, but if your mind is a field, what are you planting in it? Am I making sense there? What takes your mind to the next level? What takes your mind to places of faith? What takes your mind to places of optimism? What takes your mind to places of positivity? And are you intentional about feeding your mind that every day? Because that is the process of mind renewal. Mind renewal is not magic. There is no oil that we can throw on us that renews our mind. Number 2, this is a tough one right here, his company. Y'all not, see this one right here? This painful. This painful. I'm telling you what I know. This is painful. See, some of you, I learned this a while ago, and some of you in a season where maybe you've learned it too or are learning it, that some people genuinely loved you. They just loved a version of you that was not best for you. They were happy with the you were, but you were miserable with the you were. They loved the codependent you. They loved the people-pleasing you. They loved the hyper-generous you. They loved the appeasing you. They loved the boundaryless you. Which was actually who you were, it's just not who you were destined to be. And now destiny is requiring some disassociation from people who you genuinely love, but who are responding with hostility to the version of yourself that no longer serves them. I had a meeting earlier today, and I was telling some of our leadership team, this is a leadership principle, but applies to relationships. You have to know the difference between not giving people, you have to know the difference. You have to help people, know the difference between them not getting what they want and them being harmed. I didn't harm you because I didn't give you what you want. I'm done. Did you hear what I just said? Some people will respond to you like you've done them wrong because you didn't give them what they were not even entitled to have. Tario, I'm done. They done, I'm done. I ain't even got time. Guys, I'm preaching the text. Hear this. Now the Ephraimites asked Gideon, why have you treated us like this? Why didn't you call us when you went out to fight Midian? I don't have to call you. Y'all don't want to talk to me. Do you hear them? Why are you treating us like this? They are acting like Gideon fought them. He said, you responding to me like I did something wrong to you. I ain't call you, maybe because I don't trust you. And you keep asking me questions, you're going to make me give you an answer you're not ready to handle. This too much, y'all know. Why didn't you call me? Because you're not as good as you think you are. Why didn't you call me? Because me and you have two different opinions about your skill level. Now, I'm not going to tell you who to call when you go fight, and don't you tell me who to call when I go fight. God's going to take you places where everybody can't be included. Did you hear what I just said? You got to make room for subtractions. Tario, play. You doing that on purpose. We gotta make room for that. See, I wish I was more prepared for what was waiting on me when I stepped into certain levels. Like people talk about David going from the pasture to the palace. But spears from Saul was waiting on him in the palace. You got me? So when you multiply you, it creates these like dynamics here where the Ephraimites were upset because, y'all ready for this? Not because they were harmed, but because they wanted to be included in a way that they weren't called to in that season. You got to manage that. But there are going to be some people you do have to call. May not be the Ephraimites, but if you're going to multiply you, I'm going to tell you this. Most of the relationships you're going to need are relationships you're going to have to pursue. Because the people you need for where you're going, busy. I never ran into greatness that wasn't busy. Because great people have great demand. And here's some people's problem, Ray. They have such an imposter syndrome, they don't believe people when people offer them access. You'd be amazed how many times something go down with people. I say, why you ain't call me? I know you busy. So many people calling you. I was like, ain't that many people calling me? Because ain't that many people got my number the way you think got my number. It's like, if I didn't take the call, I couldn't. But that don't mean I don't want to take your call. Because if I ain't want your call, you wouldn't have this number. What have you not had that you could have had because of somebody that meant something you ain't believe? Some of us have dealt with people who didn't mean it so long that when you run into somebody, are y'all okay being in church 2 hours in the overflow? Y'all gonna get mad and not come back next February? Next month, February? I can't go back to that. He was preaching too long. Some of us have, I'm just telling you, I've lived through this. I literally had somebody tell me this. He said, if I didn't want to hear from you, you wouldn't have my number. He said, I didn't get back to you yet because I was busy. But some of us have been with people so long who didn't mean it. When you run into people who do, you don't believe them. The average person can't help you where you're going. Cognition, company. Number 3, conversation. Listen to the way he was talking in chapter 6 versus the way he starts talking in chapter 8. Chapter 6, it was defeat. It was negative self-talk. It was, I'm not this, I'm not that. And his conversation changed when his revelation changed. And some of you are abusive to yourself. But you can't multiply you. You cannot level up talking down to yourself. So even on my phone, in my notes app, I've got confessions. Culture may call them affirmations. Mine are not rooted in my wishes. They are rooted in the Word of God. We believe, therefore we speak. Confession, homolego, to say the same thing. My mouth says what my heart believes. So I'm going to say the word, right? And so I read, there are 5 things that I've just written down. And I wake up and I talk to God and I talk to me in the morning. I greet God and I greet the version of myself I hadn't become yet. Because I'm really hard on me. So if I don't have confessions, I will be talking down to me. But you cannot level up if you're talking down. We fast during Lent. Your pastor's calling a fast right now. I want you to do a 30-day fast from negative self-talk. Starting right now. Guys, I'm sorry I kept y'all so long. I really am. I be thinking about that. I know some of you have to drive, but I believe what I'm preaching, and I believe in you. And the moment I stop doing that is the moment I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to do something else. And me and First Lady going to go somewhere where it's warm all the time. And I'm going to be 65 playing video games. Sitting on a porch, pouring the rest of my life into younger leaders and entrepreneurs. But I know what's possible for you because I've seen what God's done for me, and I'm not better than you. And your problem is you think I am. Your problem is you think that because I have the gift to teach, that somehow exempts me from all of the struggles that you go through, from all of the disappointments, from all of the self-doubt. You think he gave me something that he didn't give you, and it's not true. I have just believed something you haven't believed yet. And if I have apostolic gifting, if I have assessed my spiritual gift set properly, then like the Apostle Paul, there should be living epistles that are evidence of what God's called me to. That is you. Quantum leaps. Greatness. No limits. No boundaries. I see increase all around me. I've got to let you go. Can I pray over you before you leave? Lord, I pray for quantum leaps this year. Help us with our cognition, our mental attitude, our processing, our mindset. Lord, help us manage dynamics with company. Give us the courage to pursue the relationships that we need. Give us the strength to let go of those relationships that only want to relate to an inferior version of us. Lord, give us the grace to manage our conversation, our tongues. We consecrate a fast of negative self-talk. We will only say about ourselves what you say about us. Now bless us and keep us, cause your face of favor to shine upon us. Be gracious to us. Protect us. Provide for us. And above all else, grant us peace. This is my prayer for your life. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. I love you. Well, family, listen, I hope you enjoyed that message, man. Listen, go back and watch it and just be inspired by it and encouraged by it. I want to thank you for tapping in. I also want to thank you for your response to God's goodness, and you responding not just with the fruit of your lips, but the work of your hands, in generosity and gratitude, and sowing into this work. And so Lord Thirds is coming on the screen now. That gives you an opportunity to sow. And there are many of you sow from different parts of the world. So grateful for you and for that. And may the God of all grace bless, keep, and multiply you as you sow good seed in the good ground. All right, I love you. We'll be back next week. Take care. Well, listen, thank you for watching thrive. I want you to make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of our teachings. And remember, you can watch me live at Thrive every Wednesday at 7 p.m.